Hello, what is up? Welcome back to another Analytics Friday. We have made it another week, friends. Wow. Today we're going to be talking about all of the changes that we will find in Google Analytics 4, not only just the new features, but a lot of the new changes and things that you're going to see in Google Analytics 4 that you didn't see in Universal Analytics. So I'm super duper excited about that. If you are hopping in, please let me know if you're using Google Analytics 4 yet. Please, I am kind of interested. I'm always interested to see how people are dealing with the Google Analytics 4 situation. Obviously, I'm kind of all in on Google Analytics 4 right now. I have released a course. If you're trying to get some more information about Google Analytics 4, if you go to the website beastanalyticsco.com, you will be able to find my course and get some more information on, how I'm dealing with Google Analytics 4. But all of that aside, I want to jump into, some of the goods. So this is what Google Analytics 4 looks like. Already, I'm just telling you guys, I said this during my talk at MozCon, and I'll say it again. Google Analytics 4 is just cute, y'all. It is so much cuter. And yeah, it's a lot more interactive too. But we'll get into that here momentarily. What is up, Shay? Thanks for joining over on Twitter. Okay, let's see. Pat commented. He said, yes, currently using Google Analytics 4 and Universal. That is honestly the setup that I'm kind of, advising people to go with right now, just because I don't want you to be deterred from going and looking at your analytics, right? I want you to be jumping into analytics. And if you're comfortable in Universal and you hate GA4, if you are solely relying on Google Analytics 4, you're not going to get into your analytics near as much as you should, right? So, yeah, thanks for sharing, Pat. So, like I said, it's a lot cuter. One of the things you're going to notice right away in this specific view is this dot on the screen here, and this is anomaly detection. So anomaly detection, you will see it throughout Google Analytics 4. Mostly, I think it's mostly on overview reports, but I could be wrong. We'll take a more look at that. But essentially, this is the first indication that Google is really trying to flex their muscles when it comes to machine learning. So they are, modeling what they think your traffic and users and what else do they do it for? They do it for conversions, specific traffic sources, all of that. They're modeling all of that. And when something is out of the ordinary, they highlight it on the screen for you. And when you hover over it, it will say anomaly detected, spike in users on this. This is what it was expected, and this is the actual. Now, if you've ever watched one of my lives before, or if you follow me over on TikTok, by the way, major shout out to my friends over on TikTok. If you follow me, if you have followed me for any time, you will know that I like to say that analytics and analysis really comes down to two things. You want to spot trends and you want to spot outliers. And anomaly detection makes it really easy to detect outliers. And anytime you see that, I highly suggest you really start to dig into the data and see what exactly happened, because it can be really insightful. Next on the report snapshot that you'll see is we do see insights again in Universal. Insights was something that was being tested, had been being tested for a while. But now if you select view all insights, you get an entire screen full of insights. If this were to load, you will see it. Let's see. It's still working. Kate over on TikTok, thanks so much for jumping in. All right, so now you can see all of the insights here. And so some of these are about anomalies. Some of these, again, this is really just the machine learning saying, hey, we saw something out of the ordinary, right? So there we have insights, and you can just load more over and over. And insights really live at all times in this sidebar. So you'll see this on every report. You can click on this little insights icon here, and it will show you some questions that you can ask. And again, this is something that was tested in Universal Analytics, but is always present in Google Analytics 4. So you can click on any of these questions. You can type in any of the questions up here. Obviously it still has work to do, but it's something that's always available. And then you can see again all of the reports that you can go to, just like you did in Universal Analytics. Now, some of the big changes in Google Analytics 4, new features. You can share a specific report through a link. They have to have access to the link though, so it's kind of the same thing, or not access to the link, access to the property. So kind of the same thing. But we also get comparisons in Google Analytics 4, and these are something that you build once. So in Universal, if you were to build out a segment to do comparisons, it lives in your property forever unless you go in and delete it. This you can do just once. So I could select an audience, which you can configure somewhere. I'll show you where in a second. But I could also just say, maybe I want to select, maybe I want to compare all traffic versus iPad, iPhone, iPod traffic. I don't know. Okay. So we'll select apply. And now we'll see how it compares to all users. So some more anomalies here. We can see that those users are just now starting to come through. It's not as steady, right? So you can do that at any time. And if you just want to, you can say remove comparison. Boom. The comparison's gone. It doesn't live anywhere. So that's really cool. You can do that again on any screen. Another big change here is that all of the reports that you see in Google Analytics 4 when you first create your property are unsampled, which means you're getting 100% of the data. In Universal Analytics, that was not the case. A lot of the data was sampled. Here, you're getting 100% of the available data, even if you use the dimensions, out of the box dimensions, and add secondary dimensions and such, you should get an unsampled report, which again is awesome. All right, now let's move on. The big difference, I guess, too, one of the newer features in Google Analytics 4 is that you can configure your events, conversions, audiences, define dimensions and metrics, and debug all in one place, which is really, really cool. So these are all of the events. A lot of these events, again, this is a new feature in Google Analytics 4. You will have the option to have enhanced measurement. So those are events that if you click yes, they're going to start tracking for you automatically and pushing into your Google Analytics account. So things like clicks, first visit, page view, these are all things that are, and scroll, are things that are all collected automatically if you turn on enhanced measurement. You don't have to go into Tag Manager and tell them to push all that information. It's all there through enhanced measurement, which is very nice. Now, you can also use this screen. I can't do it here because it's a demo account, to modify certain events or create certain events. So for instance, those like page view events you can create right here. And you can create, I don't know, all sorts of events. These are parameter based. So if you're pushing through a parameter and you say, if 2 parameters are met, create an event, you can do that right there. Conversions are super easy in Google Analytics 4. You don't have to go in and say like this event, push this event, and then have that marked as a goal. You can just come in here, hit this toggle, and it will turn it on to a conversion. Again, really, really nice. All of your conversions can be seen right here if you want to see them that way. And then we get into audiences. Audiences can be created based on a multitude of things. Mostly you do it with parameters, but let's see, you can see here. So this is a sequence. If somebody follows all of these steps, they are now put into an audience. So this one is trigger based. You'll see predictive analytics, something new in Google Analytics 4. Once a certain threshold is hit with your conversions, once you hit a certain threshold with your conversions, you get access to predictive analytics, which will show you your 7-day likely purchasers, 7-day likely churners, predicted 28 top spenders, all sorts of things. Which is something that you used to have to pay a lot of money for, like a lot of money for. And you really only got access to if you were paying for it. Now you get it for free in Google Analytics 4, which is beautiful. And then your custom definitions in here, you can put your dimensions and metrics in here. So if you're pushing through specific parameters or you want specific parameters to be shown, or if you just want to change the name of some of your parameters, you can do all of that in here. Same thing with custom metrics. You can throw that in here. And then the debug view. I love debug view. I use it all the time setting things up. So what it does is it shows any device that's debugging currently. So if you put like in GTM, for instance, if you put the @ GA_debug, whatever. If you click in here, you can look at user engagement, see all the parameters that have been collected. So source, Google, medium, organic, page title, all of that stuff. You can see it in here. And then you can see their top events. So that's it's really nice for testing, essentially. I love it. Let's see. If we go into the admin, the biggest difference in Google Analytics 4, well, there are two really big differences in Google Analytics 4 and Universal Analytics. So the first is that Google Analytics 4 is meant to really capture an entire user journey. So you get access to web and app data streams, and you can put them all in one place so that you can, again, truly understand the user journey. So there's no more like views. Everything goes into one property. Same thing with like domains, like subdomains and all that kind of stuff. You kind of see it all in one place. So here is that data stream. If you click into it, you can see that all of the enhanced measurement has been turned on here. You can turn some on, some off if you want. You don't have to. Get out of here. Product linking. There's far more product linking in Google Analytics 4 than there was in Universal, and it's a lot easier. So you get links to Google Ads, Ads Manager, BigQuery, and it's free. That's huge, that connection. And it's native, which is really, really nice. You get display, video, merchant center, which is a big one. That's really cool to see. And then obviously Search Console and search ads. Awesome. Now in the reports, we see a lot of new things, new features. So when we come into first user medium, so this is something I created. I'm just going to go into user acquisition. Here, you'll see that we have a new slew of metrics, which are engagement metrics, and these have replaced our behavior metrics. So previously, we would see average time on page, pages per sessions, and bounce rate in this area. And now we see engaged sessions, engagement rate, engaged sessions per user, and average engagement time. And all of these are based off of this idea of an engaged session, which Google has defined for us as a number or as a session that lasted longer than 10 seconds or had a conversion event or they visited at least 2 pages or screens. So that's new. All of these metrics are in theory, new, but they kind of mimic our behavior metrics. Now, the GA4, Charles tweeted this on Twitter, but GA4 API has started supporting bounce rate. So we may see it come through in platform. I want to be surprised if we saw that. The channels are a lot different in Google Analytics 4 versus Universal. So you're seeing now organic video, displayed organic shopping, all of these things that we didn't see in Universal. Now you cannot define your channels like you could in Universal Analytics, which is a bit of a bummer. But what you can do with these reports, which is really nice. So like I don't particularly love channels. You can edit every single report in Google Analytics 4 if you want to. So let me see, make sure. Edit. I just want to edit this report. I may not have access to it. Hold on. I'm sorry, the dogs are barking in the background. Let me flip over to a new account here. Thanks for joining in over on TikTok, by the way. If you want to see my screen, go join over on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube. Okay, so just about every report, let me hop into a report here. You can edit. So there's this little pencil, right? And what this allows you to do is say what metrics and dimensions you want to be in here and how you want them to be displayed. So for instance, first channel grouping, like I said, that's not my favorite view. So if I want it to be medium instead, I can change, I hit the three dots here, set as default, and hit apply. And now you'll see that that's going to become the default dimension here. I can do the same thing with metrics. So if I don't want to see revenue and maybe I don't really care about sessions, I just want to see engaged sessions, like all the engagement things at first. If I hit apply, you'll see that sessions has now been moved all the way to the back like I wanted it to. If I want to change the charts that I'm seeing, like maybe instead of a bar chart, I want to see a scatter chart, I'll hit apply. And now I've got a scatter plot, which I enjoy because I can see things a lot quicker. And I can add more summary cards if I want. I mean, really, the opportunities here are endless when it comes to customizing the reports. And then I save it. I can save this current report or I can save it as a new report, which leads me to the next thing. So I'm going to discard that because I don't really want it. You have full control over your library in Google Analytics 4. So when you come into the library, you'll see that you have collections and reports. Now, this lifecycle collection, you'll notice, is what's right here. So you have acquisition, engagement, monetization, and retention. Acquisition, engagement, monetization, and retention. This is your collection. Oops, did not mean to do that. If I wanted to change how this was set up, I would just come into edit collection and I can change, the order of these. I can add in new reports, and it's great. So I'm going to go back because I don't actually want to make, so you can see here, for instance, I created a collection that mimics that of Universal Analytics. And when I publish it, it goes live in my navigation. And so now I can go to audience and see the tech and whatever, acquisition, behavior, what pages and screens, content drill down, right? These are all things that I've created and then now have in the navigation, which again, we did not have in Universal Analytics. We had that really, really long menu and we had no control over what showed up or how it showed up. Another thing that we have in GA4 that we didn't have in Universal is explorations. And this is kind of similar to like the custom reports or custom dashboards in Universal Analytics, but a lot more sophisticated in some respects, not all respects. So if I come into one of these that I've created, you see it's set up just like Data Studio, but again, built-in anomaly detection, which is badass, frankly. And you can change how sensitive you want the anomaly detection to be, what the training period is. You could turn it off altogether. Add your dimensions and metrics. This is a cool way to see all of the metrics that are already in GA4. Here we've got all the ecom stuff, which is a whole nother ball game. All sorts of awesome things. And then you can kind of visualize them however you want. So, you get all these options. And you can create tabs through them. So it's not like I liked in making dashboards in Universal, because then my clients could look at them and see whatever. I wouldn't necessarily send a client to explorations right now the way that it is, but I have faith that eventually it's going to get better. And really, I mean, these can kind of just be ad hoc reports. The one thing that is really weird is that we don't have behavior flow report in the actual report section. If you want to see behavior flow, you have to create a path exploration, and then come through and interact with it here. So that is kind of weird. But it is what it is. Let's see what else. We also got all of everybody got the data-driven modeling for attribution. Yeah, data-driven, cross-channel data-driven model, which previously was only available to 360 users. So that's interesting. But yeah, really Google Analytics 4 has a ton of new features, which makes it a lot easier to kind of want to play with it, maybe. I know it is a bit overwhelming though, right? So I'm not going to lie and say that it's so exciting that we're all going to want to jump on and, have the best time ever and really immerse ourselves in it. But it does offer a lot of really cool features that can be very beneficial to a lot of people. But yeah, if anybody has any questions about anything specifically, I would love to take some time to answer those. And while we wait for any questions to go through, I am going to go ahead and drop a link to my Buy Me a Coffee. You can see we don't have a sponsor for today's live. So if you would like to show some support and buy me a coffee, yes, I do actually use it for coffee. That would be awesome. And it doesn't look like we are getting any questions in. So I'm going to go ahead and end it there. I will see you next week for another Analytics Friday. But until then, don't forget,